Recording in progress. Here we go. Now we're legit. So, guys, thank you. Like I say every week, I appreciate you investing 15, 20 minutes of your time, and we try to keep it brief, straight to the point. Make sure we're dropping a nugget here or there. And Christina, what do I say each and every week, right? I bring the meat every week. And I am honored to have my friend, my fellow ALC member, and a fellow Baylor Bear to the meeting this week. So sick 'em, Daniel, and I appreciate you, my brother.
Well, thank you, Ben. I appreciate the opportunity just to come on and share with everyone here today. And it's just such a privilege and honor to be able to be in business with you and with everyone here. I mean, it's a hard time for everyone, right? And I think part of it is the collaboration that we have with each other. I mean, we're here to elevate one another. We're here to encourage each other. And that's what I love about this community and the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. So anyways, I just wanted to share with you guys. So I can't believe we are in July. We are halfway through the year. My middle daughter goes off to college in 3 weeks. And, she's going to go to OU and join her sister. So that's a lot of crimson red in my household for this green and gold Baylor fan. But it's all good. It's all good. We're happy for her. But one of the things when we think about being halfway through the year is it gives us an opportunity to kind of pause, to reflect and think what kind of halftime adjustment that we need at this time. For our business, for our family, for our health, whatever it is, it's an opportunity to say, okay, well, we're halfway through the year. What else? Where do we need to go, right? And so if I lead with a question on a scale of 1 to 10, are you happy with the way things are in your business, your family, spiritual, financial, health, whatever it is? How would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? It's hard to believe that it's been over 2 years since COVID started, right? And for a lot of people, it's been a very, very difficult 2 years. And when it first started, my daughter and our family, right? We were going through so much. So my oldest was a senior at the time, and she missed prom. They had a makeshift graduation that was just, it was tough, right? I mean, the sound system was horrible. We had it outside. We were all like in our little huddles and groups. And I felt so bad for her when we dropped her off at the dorm that first semester. I mean, she basically did classes in her dorm and in her room. She went down to the cafeteria and took food and just ate in her dorm. I mean, it's just like, man, it was hard. It really, really was hard. And even my other 2 kids, they spent a year and a half doing online school. They missed out on a ton of activities, right? And missed out on their friends. And so they were really frustrated with the way things were. And so when I asked that question earlier about, are we happy, right? I mean, their happiness level was kind of low. And I think for us, right, if we think about it, even during this last couple of years, we're thinking a lot about it. We couldn't get together with family and friends. We missed vacations. We probably missed a lot of business as well. But I had to pull back and go to our family and ask the question, right? We could get frustrated, and we could, focus on the things that we were missing out on. But I challenged our family at the time. I said, let's focus on what we do have, not what we don't have. We got to spend more time together as a family. We knew people that really, 99% of the people were fine with COVID. They got it, but the symptoms were mild. But then there was that 1% that we said, man, they got it tough. They got long-term symptoms. We actually knew people that passed from COVID. And so it was a chance for us to look at and be grateful for our own health and say, you know what, we are lucky, and we're grateful that we are okay. Our family does some commercial real estate. and we saw people lost their businesses. You know, we had a dessert shop that closed down last year. I mean, and she made it through COVID. She just got burned out because they couldn't find people to help work in the business. I had a guy that he was my go-to contractor for all my remodels, and he decided to shut down his business. He couldn't keep up the quality with labor shortages and material shortages. And so I look at it as the opportunities that we have in our business, and I'm grateful for what we have, right? Even for the office and support. Towards the end of 2020, I mean, it was really, really tough for me. Definitely had some struggles with depression and anxiety, and the office rallied around me. Like, people within the office came and supported me just to get me through that season. And again, I looked at it and I go, man, the things that I have, the tribe that I have, very, very grateful for that. And so again, when we think about just kind of where things are and you know, I look at it and I go, if it's not COVID, it's something else, right? Where we've got a recession coming up. We've got a lot of economic uncertainty. We've got the shift coming. And the tension that we have is that we tend to think our happiness is rooted in our circumstances. And so we always say, if we could just achieve our goal, then we'll be happy. You know, if we close 100 units, we close 50 units, whatever it is at the end of the year, then we'll be happy. If we could just get financial freedom, then we'll be happy. If I could just get that home, then I would be happy. And that's not necessarily always the case, right? I think I look at, you know, our marketing techniques in our culture, and they focus on making us discontent with the way things are. Like, I got an iPhone 12 here, and guess what they're trying to sell me now? The 13. They're saying, oh, you know what? That's nice, but actually we added some bells and whistles. And you have to say, what do they do from a marketing standpoint that will make me want to spend another $1,000, wake up at 3 in the morning on Black Friday to go shopping, right? They tap into the psychology of making us feel that we are less than if we don't have something. They tap into our identity. They tap into our self-worth. And sometimes even in our businesses, right, we can actually fall into that trap, because we will feel like we are less than if we don't hit our goals. We will feel our less than and not as happy if we don't reach the goals that someone else does. I mean, Ben Baker, man, you are crushing it. Absolutely. And if I said, if I don't hit the goals that Ben does, am I less than? Am I not as happy? Or do I have to reach my own potential, right? And I think that's where we have to be a little bit careful in our industry, because we celebrate all the top 10s, right? And we have all our goals and we have all our things. And it's not that we don't want to achieve the best that we can, but I have to also be careful about saying, if I'm not a Ben Baker, right? Or I'm not a Stephen Markel, or I'm not a Tina, or I'm not a, you know, we can even compare it to the massive groups in our office, you know, Van Pool or something like that. Again, those may be our goals, they may not be. And I gotta be okay with that. And so we tend to say, okay, right now at our halftime adjustments, guess what we're doing? We're focusing on what we don't have because we haven't achieved it yet. And we forget to slow down and appreciate what we do have. It's been a really tough market for our clients. I mean, the first half was just brutal for buyers, right? And I wonder if the question that we ask is not how many transactions that we closed, but how many families did we help? Because not everyone closed a transaction this first half of the year. Actually, some of the people that I helped, I advised them not to sell their home. That was crazy. And that was probably the best decision for them. And yet that was a family that I helped. I helped a family that got into a lease and they were coming from out of town, and I was going around doing virtual tours, and they ended up getting a house through a for lease by owner. And I was okay with that because guess what? They had to move. They were on a timeline. They're out of town. And I was like, look, I'm going to step out of the transaction because you guys need to get a home. I didn't earn any commission on that. But yeah, I helped the family. right? And so the question is not necessarily how many transactions, right? Even though I don't want to dismiss that, it's not important, but maybe there's other things as well that we got to count. And it's again, looking at what we have. We're too quick to look ahead. We're like, okay, I'm done with the transaction. What's next? And we forget to slow down and appreciate what we did do and what we do have. There's a quote that I posted on Facebook. It's probably a few weeks ago. And it says this: beware of destination addiction, a preoccupation with the idea that happiness is in the next place, the next job, and with the next partner. Until you give up the place that happiness is somewhere else, it will never be where you are. We have to learn to be content and to find joy with who we are, with where we are, not necessarily in our activities, and that it is someplace yet to be achieved. And one more thing, the last thing I wanted to share, right, in thinking about what we have and not what we don't have, is that we have time. My heart is actually very heavy right now because we have a friend. It was one of my daughter's friends from high school. There's a set of twins. They're seniors. They're going to college. They're freshmen. And their mom posted on Facebook, she's got stage 4 cancer, cervical cancer, and the prognosis is not good. And so she has a son that's a junior and 2 freshman girls. She's been divorced for 10 years. And I can't even imagine what's going on in her head. And I cannot imagine what's going on in their kids' heads. Life is a gift, and we're not guaranteed tomorrow. You know, my wife, she had a complaint against me a few years back. And she said, Daniel, I need you to be present. I was so focused on the business. I mean, it was stressing me out. And when I was at the dinner table, when I was in conversations, I wasn't always present. And time really is a gift. And so maybe we should hug our people a little tighter. We should appreciate the business that we have and the people that are in our database, right? What we have, and not, you know, I mean, we want to grow our database, right? But also appreciate the ones that we do have. You see, our time is what we do have. And if you're a person of faith, right? What I want to say is, if our time is not done, God is not done with you. He's still got a plan. He's still got a purpose for you. And if you're not a person of faith, and I don't know if that's, you know, I don't want to offend anyone or anything like that, but, you know, I don't know how but if you're coming from a different background, know that your purpose and destiny in life is still unfolding, right? That you can still make a difference, that you still have influence in this season because we still have time. And so my takeaway, hopefully, is that we could, in this halftime adjustment in this season, that we would pause, that we would slow down. Instead of just asking what's next, what's the next transaction, what's the next deal, that our joy and our happiness is rooted in the things that we do have and not the things that we don't have. That we find joy in the present, and that we would find joy not just in our circumstances, but that we are becoming people of joy. And that dictates how we feel, how we go about our everyday. So that's what I got, Ben.
Daniel, I appreciate you sharing so many things, and you finished on joy. It just makes me think, and I know she'll smile as she's driving down the street. My best buddy, she's always talking about things that spark joy for her, and I see she's smiling. You know Kelly can well, and I think that's one thing that Kelly does, and you know, she spends time on things that spark joy in her life. And I appreciate you bringing that up. I appreciate you being vulnerable, because I remember that time you were going through. And I think, you know, today, it just seems like it's on the forefront of media attention, people's conversation. We talk mental health. We talk, self. We've got to take care of ourselves. But I'm so blessed that this is a family. Every face I see here, they're all family members. We've all got friends and families that depend on us, and it's okay, because me, I'm as strong as they come. And yet, after going through my tragedy, I realized that I couldn't get through it without family and friends. And so I'm so appreciative of all that I have. And I also heard from you, as I recap, that sometimes we need to slow down. That just reminds me, like I said, I started off by teasing Tia. And I think what Tia understands is, that family time with her parents, and they were just fishing. It was nothing over the top, but it was family. It was time together. And that's so important today as things, we get caught in the hustle and bustle. And sometimes we forget that we have an opportunity, that life is precious, and it's not, it's so unpredictable. We just don't know from one day to another. So let's enjoy the gift and the present that time brings us. So I knew you'd bring it, and I can tell you, Daniel, I wanted you because I knew that with your experience in the church, that you would bring a message that was, I felt that it would be rooted in spirituality. It would be rooted in, that it's even difficult for me to articulate, but I felt the message, and I hope that you guys did too, and that you derive something from it. Christine, I see you shake your head, so I feel like, yeah, you felt it, right? And I think our responsibility, and I said this many, many years ago, I stopped setting goals on, how many units could I sell? And I changed the narrative that it's about serving families, right? And when I did that, all of a sudden things changed around me, right? My focus was not on selling a house. It was serving this family. And sometimes that means that we don't get paid a commission. We advise them on what's truly best for their family. Sometimes it's a reduced commission, and something that, if you're selling a damn Lennar home, right? I sold that client that home because it fit their needs. And I wasn't focused on the commission that I was getting, because they were almost paying me nothing, right? So I appreciate you bringing that up. And again, I see James Christie also, Sikkim Bears, from one bear to another. Sikkim, my brother, and I appreciate you. Guys, I appreciate you guys for chiming in. I'll tell you, next week we've got another very interesting host. And I can tell you, over the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're talking diversity. And I'm not talking ethnic, I'm talking different backgrounds. I'm so excited about what I'm bringing, because I think that we're all going to learn something. And for me, that's also what this 20 minutes is about, to make sure that I can bring some value, that you'll derive a nugget from it, and we'll all step out there and crush it, right? Be the best that you can be, and enjoy time, enjoy family, and take a little time, to slow down and smell the roses, because we're still here, right? With all the struggles that are out there, we have an opportunity that many don't have. So, Daniel, any parting words? We good?
Good.
Thank
good. You.
I appreciate you guys. Hey, see you next week. Y'all be good.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Daniel.
Always.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
So here's my